What's up, everyone? Welcome back to War Whiskey Podcast. I'm Justin. That's Chris. Chris, as always, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, man. I'm surviving. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. For our viewers at home, Chris had a little case of the COVID. How's
Oh
that coming
yeah.
off?
It's coming off. It's a little bit of exhaustion right now, but I'm on the back end of it, so it should be okay.
Did it live up to the hype?
It did. It did. It was all that and more. Like it was
Oof,
every symptom on the list. And I tell you, when you feel it, man, it's great.
nice. Or actually, it's not nice. It's kind of bad. I felt it when I got my vaccine, my second shot, and thought I was dying for 4 hours.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So last we did this podcast. We were episode 4. We were convoying into Iraq.
hmm
And again, thank you to everyone who has been listening to the show. It's grown substantially, and we continue to hope to grow it. Chris, one thing you missed this weekend because of COVID was the 17-year reunion of the Charlie Company from 2004, 2005.
Yeah, man. I hated to miss that. I got to catch up on a lot of pictures. They created a Facebook page and everything. So it was cool to see everybody and to see how well everybody aged or lack thereof.
I made the comment in our little chat group that it looked like Veterans Day at the Golden Corral when I first got there. It was so good to see everybody. And you know, you don't really realize how much you need that to see see everybody in the camaraderie. And there's some things I want to tell you, Chris. That cohesion we had as a unit that distinguished us from everyone else, it was still there.
Mhm. Oh, nice.
A lot of people were asking where you were at.
Yeah.
I guess they assumed that we still were living together.
Oh,
Fun fact: we were roommates for a long time.
that's right. Yeah. Twice.
Twice actually. Yeah. Um, so which was, I don't know if that's flattering or like it's kind of sad. I'm like, don't you what? You know,
That's the permanent bachelor life then, huh?
yeah, I guess so. I guess so. But I saw a lot of people I haven't seen in a while. There's a lot of people I didn't know went with us. I shook a lot of hands with people I didn't remember the names.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. I was looking at the pictures as well. Just as soon as you fight through the beards, then you're like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember them.
Exactly. We just asked, hey, what's your VA rating? Over 30? Yeah, oh yeah, you were with us. Yeah. I don't have a VA rating, so I was kind of like, yeah, hey, look, here's my picture of me with you guys. One thing, what really stood out with me, I was sitting there at the dinner and I was seeing these guys I haven't seen in such a long time. I sat to dinner with, Kevin Kimmy, which I've seen him a couple of times since then, but I haven't seen
Mhm.
Clint Owens in 17 years.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Jimmy Glenn, I haven't seen a whole lot of, and Paul Heath and all them, but we fell right in just cutting up like we never stopped hanging out together.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
good friends to do that. You can pick up from the last conversation.
oh, dude, it was exactly like that. A lot of like when you and I hang out, people have said that about us that we just, no
Yep.
matter what we're doing, we just instantly start talking. But we talk about how we've changed over 17 years, some good, some bad.
hmm
There is a thing called retirement weight, I've noticed, and retirement facial hair. So I was like, hey, it's like a moonshine convention. What's going on in this thing? But like, so, and it made me think about our evolution when we were in Iraq. Remember our first day in Iraq? Like actually like at our FOB, which is
Yeah.
playing for a forward operating base.
Yeah. 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 So like the last time we talked, we talked about the first night we stayed
Yep.
there, and where we had our choice between the parking lot or a building.
Yep. I
And
chose
then
parking lot.
yeah, I chose building because I
Yep.
want to keep playing cards. And then, just in reaction from that point on, where there was a lot of tests and probes and just trying to see what we were made of. And they had a long year in front of them.
Did you're an avid card player.
Yeah.
And I consider you rather good. Did you pick it
Yeah.
up while in the military?
Basic cards like spades, yes, but I never played poker overseas. I played one or two times in Louisiana, but when we were overseas, I never played cards with them.
I remember the
I
spades
used
game.
Oh yeah, spades are intense, man.
I never played spades a lot. I played poker a little
Yeah.
bit, but I never, not to the extent. A lot of people know Chris has won numerous tournaments, done podcasts on it. And he's really really good at it.
Yeah. I'm
You
trying.
know, is Rounders based off you? Could be the movie Rounders. Matt Damon looks a lot like you.
Yeah, you never see us in the same room together. That's what's
Right. I remember that first day, as in we got mortared.
yeah.
Indirect fire was laid on us. Hit way away from us. However, it woke you up to what was going on there.
Mhm.
So, you know, but we were pretty much innocent, if you remember that.
Oh yeah.
You know, and what I mean by innocent is you haven't had, as the gross term is, you haven't had your cherry popped yet,
Yeah.
which is getting into a fight, getting
Your balls
hit.
haven't dropped yet.
Yeah. So the way it works a lot is like indirect fire, you can take that all day.
Mhm.
I mean, unless it's like that Jordanian team that was really good, but most time they're just going to fire and forget. But when you're in a direct engagement or taking grenades, that's when it changes the game
Mhm.
a little bit. What was your first when we first went into sector? What was that like for you?
It was just too fast because we walked with the group that was there, right? We did our handoff type deal. It was just too fast. Like I didn't know what we were doing. It's like if this is going to be the whole way, the year's going to fly by because we're not going to do anything. Like we got there, boots on the ground. We started doing our first one, and we were just going so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I promise you, patrol took 7 minutes, and we walked through 2 or 3 sectors at least. And then when we got back, the first thing is when our leadership started talking, like, okay, do you guys notice how we did that patrol? We're never going to do it like that again.
Yep.
Because it was unreal. There's no way. I mean, we were just there just to say, hey, we're here and we're just checking the box. So,
and really what happened, the unit we replaced was not an infantry unit, it's a field artillery unit. And they were more concerned with doing the patrol as fast as they could without doing anything. And really, it's like driving fast through a bad neighborhood. You just try to get through it quick as you can. But if you stop and poke around, you may run into something. And they weren't even stopping enough to see what was going around. And all this danger was around them, but they're not going to, okay, Americans come through, Americans gone.
Yep.
And what he's referring to is our command was like, no, we need to we're designed different than filter. We're designed to do these type of missions. So we're going to use our guys and we're going to let them do what they do. We're going to let them go out there and, see what they can find. And that's what we did. The patrols got a lot longer, a lot slower.
Definitely more detailed. We have more oriented. You know, we had a target. We had points to hit. As to where I think they were like they may have been there from the insurrection or invasion. So I think they were just waiting on their time. I don't think they were waiting. They were.
I think and the bad thing about them is they got extended. They went somewhere and a lot of them got ended. A lot of them got hit by a car bomb.
Yeah,
in a bad way. A lot of them were killed. But I mean, I'm not being crude, but that's the nature of the business that we don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
But, so Sergeant Major Felt was there. Donald Felt.
Oh yeah.
Our battalion CSM. And folks at home.
It wasn't ours. We were attached to them though.
Right. So a lot of people know is we, and I found this out at the reunion. We were picked. We were a National Guard unit picked for this mission because we were the most aggressive. Colonel Murray or General Murray at the time was like, I don't want your best. I want your worst. I want you, Then he saw us and he's like, yeah, that's the ones I want. I guess they watched us somewhere. But we were the most aggressive. And that's how come we got the mission. And because, dude, no kidding. Now I've been around a few different units. No one can ever fight like us.
Yeah.
No one could ever fight like us. Like when the battle broke down, that's when we're at our best.
Yep.
And I've been with units. I know my peers and stuff, and they're very much like hesitant when it comes to things like that. And we were never like that because we weren't taught like that. We were very aggressive, and that's what they wanted. And Sergeant Major Felt we are attached to an active duty battalion from the 1st Cav Division, and so we're Bradley folk. We couldn't become Bradley folk, but him and Colonel McDonald, our battalion commander, came to the reunion and they both spoke, which was pretty awesome, I think.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And there's a couple of things they said about us, man. They told us why we were picked. Number 2, they said 50% of our patrols were hit. Like, so if you remember this, Chris, you and I, we would do one patrol in the morning and one patrol in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And if we didn't get hit in the morning, because it depends what time it was in the morning. If it was before 9, we probably weren't going to get hit. But
Yeah.
we usually got hit in the afternoon one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If we did three patrols, because remember they threw that sometimes they throw at night patrol on us.
Mm-hmm.
And we sometimes you get like a 2-for-1 deal and get hit twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's we were getting hit. But and another really alarming statistic that shows the gravity of the situation. 156 Purple Hearts were given to this battalion. 78 of those were ours.
Wow.
So 78 Purple Hearts went to one company. There's not another
two platoons.
Two
We were
platoons,
just two
actually.
platoons
Two
of that company,
platoons
yeah.
from the
Yeah.
state of Arkansas. Two platoons at the state of Arkansas got 78 Purple Hearts. If you are in the state of Arkansas National Guard, I want you to think about that, all right? Because there's nothing else out there that can compare to that right there. Two platoons of, I don't know, probably a total of 80 men, probably. Let's just say roughly 40. So, that's what you got. 78 Purple Hearts. It's insane. It's an insane number. But there were some good times and bad times about that. What do you remember as a really key patrol for you or for us as for the unit?
Man, I think one of the first ones when we went to show force and we actually stayed out there for like 3 hours just to kind of provoke. That was one that kind of really rang home. Even though they got pretty close to me that time.
Was that when you took the grenade by the high rise?
That was in the breezeway. Yeah, we were in the breezeway. Yeah. And I got peppered up a little bit, and it just, you feel it's like holding on to a firework, man. Just has that feeling to it. It's like,
yeah.
But I think that one was just kind of like, since it happened early, and since it was intentional, like that was our intent, because we're out there ripping paper off the freaking concrete, and we're out there talking to people for too long.
We were doing for the folks at home, we were doing propaganda mission where we were ripping off the opposition street gangs or whatever, putting up these flyers, and we were taking them down.
Yeah, it was the exact opposite of our first patrol. Our first patrol, we ran through everything. This was the exact opposite. I felt like we were walking backwards through the whole thing.
We were slow.
Oh goodness. And I know it was intentional, because they even mentioned it's like, we're going to be out there for a while. We're going to show force. We're going to see if we can, kind of prod the bear, see what happens a little bit. So, but I wasn't too worried, because, we talked about, you talk about our aggressiveness and you talk about our chemistry and stuff like that. And that's kind of one thing that I was never a part of a regular Army unit. But when I think about it, like when I went to basic training, the people who were going regular Army were all kids from different places and just stuck in a unit together. Mm-hmm. When you think about National Guard, when somebody joins a National Guard unit, they're all in the same town. They're all from the same town. Like, you knew a bunch of the guys before I even got there. Mm-hmm. And so you already have your friends that are already there. You have your home station drills. You guys live together. You know each other before that. And then you don't get promoted until you're a little bit older, a little bit more mature, so you kind of have that like bond built in. So you have like a home type deal, like a home station is like a true thing too, because I don't want to say it's a better unit, but it's definitely a more cohesive unit. I think that's how we got recognized so well, because a lot of you guys that joined together, a lot of us that went in together had known each other for several years before. As to where a regular Army, you don't stay in the same group the whole time.
Right. And one good thing about us is by this point, we weeded out all the weakness. I've talked about the podcast.
Yeah.
Chris was actually the first guy I met outside of the guy who got me in the Guard, in the military. And, we and him are like brothers to this day. But, all that camaraderie plays a part when you're, it's like a force multiplier.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about not being worried, and what has happened, we were pulling down propaganda signs, which is kind of trash, because you really don't know. You're like, okay, this looks like one, I'll just yank it down. A grenade was tossed by some random person just to see what we would do. And it landed by you.
Yeah.
And by Joe McKenzie. I remember that. Yep. And then I was across the street. I didn't know what happened. The next thing I know, we're exfilling. I was like, what's going on here? And sometimes that's how combat is. People, if they think it's like in the movies, they're like, oh, no, take the hill. It's not necessarily like that. Like shit can be going on and you don't know it's going on. So you're like, oh, it is going on. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a different type of fight now.
it is. It reminds me of a time when there's that firefight when during the elections when there was that firefight at the hospital. I'm taking ricochets. I'm like, am I taking ricochets right now? I was like, I think there's ricochets coming at me. Or that time that drunk dude shot that 22 at us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, somebody shot them. By that time, you lit them up, you and Jimmy. But like, I think that first patrol was a good one. I could talk about the Miranda one, but I think that's been covered a lot over a lot of things. We had 78 Purple Hearts. That's a fact. We also had one KIA. And the night that happened, I was on the ground when it happened. Actually out there, beta ambush. We were pinned in. This is how it all went down. But I'm not going to get into that because there's a lot of things that happened big of that situation. But having someone killed in the unit, especially a guy like Troy Miranda, who was a cornerstone of the unit.
Oh yeah, big time.
Chris, I gotta tell you, I watched him tell. So his brother was in the unit. Phil, he's a good friend of ours. I got to see Phil at the reunion.
Yeah.
I love Phil. Phil is such a great guy. I remember watching him get the news.
Yeah.
And it never dawned on me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What did you think about when someone was killed, when this happened? What was your thoughts during it?
Like, so I wasn't out there that night because we got swapped off to do some kind of backup QRF or something or whether we were attached to a different platoon at the time. But that was just for like a week or a weekend or that night even. But coming back and kind of reading everybody's faces when they came back, like I knew they'd gone through something. And then just the whole tone of night changed. So even from leadership and the captain and lieutenant and everybody who come in, it was a little bit of anger, but a lot more sadness just because of one, it happened, and two, of who it happened to.
I tell you, man, and people are like, yeah, you don't know it. It's just, I guess, because I didn't see him. I've talked to the person who recovered the body and everything like that. And of course, I know he's dead. Like, you registered, he died. He's never, ever coming back. But it just didn't dawn on me. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it never registered with me.
Yeah.
And the aftermath of that was like, well, so that was our first real contact, Everyone showed their cards. And I've always said combat's like, combat's a great equalizer. It peels you like an onion, kind of like the Shrek analogy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ogres like onions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like, they showed their cards. And some people, and of course, we have always said we're never naming names on this show, but you showed me what you are.
Yeah.
You showed me what you are. You showed me you're being fake. And it's easy to be a soldier 1 week in a month, but it's hard to be it when it's the real game.
Yeah.
And you showed me your cards. And I think the aftermath of that was the next patrol at night we went out. I ended up becoming alpha team leader because a guy couldn't go out as a result of that mission.
Right.
And what I remember about that mission was myself, Jimmy Glenn, and Derek Smith. And we were inserting the SEAL team, if you remember that mission.
Yeah, I remember those guys.
Yep. It was pitch ass black. I remember we had to breach the gate to get the SEALs in, and I ran up there. I was a team leader. Hey, you're alpha team going forward. I ran up there, and like Derek's working the log, breaking it without that bolt cutter, and I hear them blow that thing up down the road. And Jimmy and I are like, "Let's go, Derek, get us in there and get us in there." He pops that chain, and we get in there, and it's a smooth mission, and I'm alpha team from there on out.
Yeah.
That's how it happened.
Yeah.
So, and once you become alpha team leader, that's it. It's game on from there on. You're a point man. You're everything. What was your favorite patrol?
Oh, I don't even remember, to be honest with you. I think the one that had the most like nothing serious that I could kind of we was walk through was when we were asking about people in their power bills or whatever, and just talking to them, making sure people had their power, or they were getting power bills, and then their water was running. And so we're walking through there and we're talking to these people, and we're all held up, and this kid comes and talks to Kimmy. Kimmy is not one to suffer conversations he's not interested in, which is most of them, if it doesn't pertain to a book that he's read or some baseball cards.
Real quick, Chris, Kevin Kimmy is a Charlie Company legend and 1st Battalion legend.
Yeah.
He's notorious for bingo.
Yeah.
Bad decisions in gambling.
Yes.
Book reading and Pringles during this time. Yeah. We all love Kevin.
Oh yeah.
But he's a legend in a variety of ways. Go ahead, Chris.
He also kind of, no, you're good. And so one of the kids comes and asks him what we're doing there. And he's like, we're here to check your water. And the kid doesn't understand. Asks him again. He said, what are you doing here? And Kimmy just starts getting frustrated. You just see it bubbling over on him. And if you've met Kimmy, you can tell he wears his emotions on his sleeve. He doesn't hold his stress in pretty easy.
Absolutely.
And so he goes, the kid asks him one more time. He's like, we're here to check your agua. And of course, we all know that agua is Spanish for water, not Arabic, not English. And so I'm just over there just laughing my face off. And Kimmy looks at me and goes, what are you laughing at, Autry? And I was like, dude, that's Spanish, man. He doesn't understand what you're saying. And I kept laughing, and I don't know why I kept laughing. I probably should have been laughing like that on patrol, but I couldn't keep my eyes open. I was laughing too hard.
I'll tell you an instance before I get to my favorite patrol. So one thing we did 6 days of patrols and 3 days of gates. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
We had the North Gate. I think
we were protection.
Force protection. It was kind of like a break for us. The leadership, the squad leaders and stuff never came out there as E5 and below. 12-hour shifts. It was just kind of like a chill out. When you just go down there and kind of hang out. We had these number one, we had a 50 cal with no timing, so it wouldn't fire. We didn't have the timing, it wouldn't fire on a tracked vehicle that just had a radio in it. Some HESCO barriers and some Iraqi guards. That's all we had.
Yeah. And we had flies. Flies were there.
Flies, horrible flies. I mean, we did tons stupid stuff. We drove mopeds around. We did everything stupid. I'm just letting you know. And because no one ever came and checked on us. And I remember we were down there one night. Brad Mitchell, Greg Woodward were like, hey, we're going to make an MRE bomb. And Fox Fox and I were like, we're team leaders down there. And they're like, Fox, rest in peace. We're like, hey, that's cool. Do your thing. We're just hanging out. So MRE bomb is you take strips from the MRE heater, you add water, you tape it up where you can't, where the gas can't escape, and it eventually blow up. They made the Moab of all like MRE bombs. This sucker was like could chip concrete. Well, they set it and they just left it alone.
Yeah.
And it sat there and it built and it built and it built and it kept building. And it got dark. And we're awake. The Iraqi guards went to sleep. We're sitting there and this thing goes off. Dude, it is like a cannon goes off down there. It echoes because it was during a blackout. So like everything's quiet. Yeah. And so the guards sleep with their hands on the triggers, and they woke up and fired. Then they just start shooting, pow, 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 and they're shooting at everything. And folks, there's nothing there, there, and they only have 10 rounds. All of them emptied the rounds.
Yeah.
The towers, I can literally feel the towers watching us, like we're getting hit. We're like, oh my God. So like Fox like gets on the radio. Headhunter Main is like, what's going on under main gate? We're like, yeah, orange Opel shot at Opel's a car. Like orange Opel shot at us. We got no description. They're like, okay, cool, do a report and you're good. And they're like showing me the weapons, like, yeah, missed that they shot at us. I was like, yeah, they did. No car. There was no one around. And I look at Greg and Brett, and they're like hunched down, like, oh God. I was like, oh my gosh, man. But that was just some of the funny things that happen on deployment that you don't ever see in the movies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? One of the
Yeah.
things is that I guess my favorite patrol was that 3-house raid we did, if you remember that.
Oh yeah. 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 Because I was intercardon then.
Yeah. What do you remember about that?
It was over quick. That was a good thing.
Yeah. So I remember so we were in the Bradley. So Sergeant Major Phillips talked about ramps down. So when we're in the Bradley, I know Chris, you were an entry man, right?
Yeah.
And I was an entry man. And
Yep.
and we would stack a certain way in the Bradley. So when we talk about Bradleys are designed to stack um 8 people in the vehicle comfortably. We usually had like 12 in there. Remember, we usually
Yeah.
stick all
Yeah.
but
Yep.
and what you did, you would sit in the Bradley and let the hydraulic door shove you into it. So you're stacked like this, right? That's how
Yeah.
we did it. And
Yeah.
it depends on the mission sometimes, but on that day we were amped. So soon as the ramp came down, I shot out like a rocket, and like Newbolt was ahead of me. Oh, it was Fox, Newbolt, and me, Jimmy Shoemake, and Joe McKenzie.
Yep.
Joe gets hung up in the door. And the door
Like only
almost
Joe
takes his
McKenzie
leg
can.
off, and he falls off of it and catches up. So we're heading for this house, and we are looking for the barber who cut the hair of the person who cuts the heads off people. Right? Remember that?
Solid lead. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're looking for the guy. Apparently, he is he has he likes young men. So there's possibly a young person there.
Yeah.
I remember it was a knock and cordon. Fox knocked with his hand. The Newbolt hit the door with a sledgehammer, and he just flew open. And I hit that sucker like a freaking linebacker. Just blew up in that house. And I went in there, and I immediately went upstairs because there's no, the houses are small, so
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
like you instantly clear. Jimmy and Shoemaker doing their thing downstairs. I go upstairs, and there's a kid up there asleep with a cell phone. We caught him off guard.
Yeah.
And I remember chunking that kid downstairs. And Newbolt already linked up with us by then. And I remember coming out the door, and Caldwell was like, "Hit this house here," and we just busted up in that house. Then some cat next door stuck his head out. Then he's like, "Hit this house here," and we ran up in there, and Newbolt yanked that little mouse-looking dude out. He was hiding in a cabinet. Newbolt yanked him out.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, and we yanked him out, and that woman spit on Fox, and he spit back on her. And we extracted. It was supposed to be one house in 7 minutes. It was 3 houses in 7 minutes.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
That's what I remember about it. And we were back and done, and we're all high-fiving. And I was so high on the adrenaline. That was my favorite patrol.
Yeah.
And I think that's when we became gangbusters. And the rest of the deployment, there's tons of times. Chris, I gotta say this. I gotta say the first time you shot your weapon.
Yeah.
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 Night Patrol Bravo 4.
That's right.
Right
I
by
got
the
attached to you
museum.
guys.
Yeah, you're running with us.
Yep.
And at this time our squad was one of the premier, or not, if not the premier squad. I'm not gonna say it wasn't, because every squad's got proud, but we were always in the front for a lot of reasons. But you were with us.
Yep.
What we assumed was a drunk guy shot this 22 at me, or at us rather. And I remember being like, someone could shoot at us. And by the time I got those words over the mic, Chris and Jimmy were just shooting in the dark.
Fire.
Huh?
We returned fire, man.
Yeah, it was just like I saw tracers. I saw everything that I was like, oh, okay, we are shooting at someone. Then we went over there and searched all those buildings. We never could find that guy. Probably because he was hiding, because that was a lot of fire coming back. And that was our safe sector. Nothing happens there.
Yeah,
Don't
we were
shoot
kind
in
of
that area.
Yeah, we were kind of green.
Yeah, and we lit that sucker up. Chris, at the end of the night at the reunion, we did a group picture. They called us all to attention, and we did a group picture. What was your thoughts coming home from Iraq? And it just really made me think about it when we were all like together. I'm like, I'm looking at Lutzinger, I'm looking at the back of him,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I think about all of us, and like, what was your thoughts coming home from Iraq?
Man, I tell you, I was just so one dimensional at that point. All I could think of was like, I just want to get out of there. Because when we came home to like a parade and a pep rally type thing, and they were playing a band, and all I can think of was like, I just want to get out of here. I don't want to be around anybody.
Yep.
I want to go away and just get my drink on, for lack of a better term, and just,
Yeah.
I just, cause I'd been denied all that stuff for a year. I wanted to go out and live a little bit of life. And so that's kind of like how I always thought about stuff, is like, what do I want to do when I get my time back? Because I can't get the year back that I spent, and I don't regret it at all.
No.
But I was kind of transplanted out of my actual social life for a year.
Mm-hmm.
So once I was done with that, and even I think leadership knew that, for not just for me, but for a lot of people too, because like the morning formations were always just kind of a see who's breathing and then go back in.
That was at Fort Sill, correct?
Yeah, Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Yeah. Just the only thing I remember about it was like, I'm ready to get my life back on track. Like I was done closing the book. I did what I was supposed to do, and I was done with that chapter and just ready to move on.
I remember when we got home from Iraq, all those married people had their loved ones there. You, myself, Joe Cole.
Yep.
And a handful of others didn't have anybody.
That's right.
What's the one thing that we turned to?
Companionship,
which was basically we found that in the form of a bar and booze.
Yeah.
And bad decisions, but not bad decisions, but I was right there with you. I just wanted to go out and do everything that I couldn't do in Iraq. I remember getting blackout drunk.
Yep.
Showing up the formation with gel still in my hair. All these cats that I've never met before high-fiving me about the night before. That's how I met the recon unit. I was like, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
Then like the next time we went out, blackout drunk, I called someone the C word. The bouncer tried to jump on me, and all the recon trying to jump on him. And that was like that was it. And
yeah.
Next thing I know, all y'all left, and I was stuck there getting my knee repaired.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
When you got home, how'd you feel?
Awkward at first.
I'm not talking about like adapting, but I'm not talking about, did you feel like you accomplished something?
I don't think it registered at that point.
Right.
I think I completed something that I had to do, but as far as like accomplishment to, like, I don't know, for lack of a better term, put the medal on my chest, like I didn't see it as that.
Right.
I was like, all right, I did what I was asked to do. I'm done with that. Now I have some money to burn, and I don't have to go back to work. I'm still getting paid.
Right. I guess for me, because I got my leg repaired and I was kind of on orders, and I didn't have to get out of the environment. Like it never really dawned on me what we did, because to me, it was just part of the job.
Yeah.
It was just, I was still in the job. Did I think it actually registered me when I went back to work civilian wise, and I'm like, look, I just did all this stuff in Iraq and you're treating me like this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That kind of hit home a little bit.
Yeah.
But Chris, I got to tell you, man, I was sitting there at the reunion and I looked around at the men that were there. And I remember how the ones I do remember who were with us, how they performed and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless if combat exposed them to whatever, but we walked with giants.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Neil Thomas, your squad leader, about this. I said,
Tank.
Tank. I was like, these guys, they hold like so much animosity against themselves for what they went through. But man, for one moment in your life, maybe still you were giants, you were lions.
Mm-hmm.
And no one can take that from you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you think about. It's not an experience that everybody has. I remember running a half marathon, and the buddy I was with, he's like, hey, you're about to do something only 1% of people in the world do, or whatever the math equation is, you're going to finish a half marathon. It's like, that's cool. But I mean, I've done something else that not a lot of people get to do too,
Right.
So I've done that part of it. It's not something I would encourage everybody to do unless you're made for it. And if you're not made for it, don't do it.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people had some problems when they got back, and that's a whole different episode. But the bottom line is that we got to play in the big game.
Yeah.
Thousands of people deploy, very few play in the big game. We got to play in the big game.
Yeah.
Very few people in the state of Arkansas can say that.
Yeah.
But we can. We can say, like, yeah, and in particular, we can say, like, we played and we scored. We we won the game.
Yeah.
And I just think about, like, when I was sitting there looking at all those great, we were in a company of heroes. You think about that. I hate using that term, but some really great people there I saw. But it's just like, what we did, very few people ever get to experience it.
Yeah.
And I hope everyone who listens to this podcast from the unit understands that you were a giant. You were, we were the tip of the spear for the deployment.
Yeah.
To put it in, and it's something to hang your head up proud about. Regardless what happens to you after that one moment, you were delivering your state championship, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, Chris, the reunion's over. We're looking forward to the next one. I'm sure they'll have COVID. Let's see, 22 by then.
Yeah.
So hopefully you won't catch it. What's your closing thoughts on this?
I'll try and avoid it. Yeah, for sure. Man, it was a good run, dude. It was a lot of fun. Reminiscing, walking from start to the day we're at now. I kind of hated missing the reunion, but it was really good to hear that it was a good one. I got a couple of text messages asking where I was or if I was still coming down. And then got a text message from one who, like, they weren't going to go. And then I was like, just go. And so they said that they ended up having a good time. So that was the best part of it, is trying to get everybody back together. I would have loved to have been there, especially to see a couple of people. I had a couple of messages from Clint Owens. We were looking forward to hanging out because he was my bunk buddy. He was the guy on top bunk. And so, we had some kind of repertoire back in the day. So, but
I purposely hung out with Clint Owens the whole time.
Yeah. He was like the only person there without full beard.
He was.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And he had a haircut that I could set a watch to. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Chris, this wraps up our reunion special. For War Whiskey Podcast, I'm Justin. That's Chris. We're signing off.